Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, I am going to be grading every first round NFL rookie season from this last year. You want to say right before this started, there was a handful of these guys that I didn't really know a whole lot about because I didn't hear their names one time. So I had to do a little bit of digging. I had to watch whatever tape I could on these mysteries. And I think this actually turned out to be pretty reasonable. Now, we do have 31 different guys to grade here, so I do want to hop right into the video, but before we do that, we got a couple of quick plugs as always. So, don't forget to use code WyattzWorld on G Fuel or Prize Picks, where you can save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products or match up to $100 of your first deposit. Also, don't forget they're doing a Patrick Mahomes free square on the Super Bowl. He literally needs 1 yard for that entry to win. It's free. But that's all I got for plugs. Let's get into grading every first round draft pick from this last season. Alright guys, before I start rattling these grades out, I want to let you know how this is going to work. So we are going to be starting at the bottom of the first round with pick number 31, because there was only 31 picks this year, and ending at the top with number 1 overall. So pick number 31, I'm going to butcher his name, was Felix Anudike-Uzomah, defensive end to the Kansas City Chiefs, and my grade for him is a D. Look, he really didn't do much wrong, but he just really didn't play all that much either. Only 218 snaps, finishing with half a sack, 1 forced fumble, 8 tackles, and 7 quarterback hits. And I read up on it, and their DC says he's not a bad player, but the guys ahead of him are just better. So I'm gonna give him a D for now. Moving on to pick 30, we've got Nolan Smith, who is a linebacker to the Eagles. He also gets a D from me, and I know Vic Fangio could fix him. I'm hearing the hype around him. But again, this guy played 245 total snaps and finished with 1 sack and 10 tackles. Again, now you gotta remember, this is a first round pick we're talking about here. Numbers are one thing, but only playing 245 total snaps, that's just not good. And that'll bring us to number 29, and that is Brian Breezy, defensive tackle, and he went to the Saints. His grade from me is actually a C. This guy had 4.5 sacks, 12 tackles, 9 quarterback hits, 13 pressures, and played 539 snaps. Now, he may have technically never started a game this year, but I feel like he made an impact whenever he got his opportunities, which he was playing pretty regularly. And his ability to stop the run is also being highlighted on pretty much any page you find him on. And that'll bring us to number 28, Myles Murphy, defensive end of the Bengals. He gets another D from me, first round pick. You get 3 sacks, 10 tackles, 6 pressures, and you don't start a single game. A matter of fact, you barely broke 300 defensive snaps. These are guys that you can look at in the 4th or 5th round and be like, oh yeah, okay, they're pretty good for when you got them. You got this guy in the 1st, man. That is not productive. And now we've got pick number 27, and that is Anton Harrison, offensive tackle to the Jaguars. He gets a B+ from me. Now understand, this is an offensive lineman. I'm not too familiar with them, you know, I don't study them. But from what I got to see out of this guy, he started every single game. He's fast, he's got great vision on seeing who's coming from which direction. Only allowed 5 sacks all season long. I mean, what's bad about that? To me, that sounds pretty fucking good. So good on you, Anton. All right, pick number 26 is Mazi Smith, who is a defensive tackle from Dallas. This is one I could be way out of line for. I'm gonna give him a flat D as well. To me, he looks kind of clunky, and he didn't play a whole lot. But out of the 300 snaps he did play, he only got 1 sack and 3 pressures out of the entire year. I do think, ironically though, he sacked Josh Allen. All right, number 25, Dalton Kincaid. He gets a B- from me. I wish he would have gotten to play more, but at the same time, I wish we would have just used him more, because when he did play, he looked like a freak. And he's really smart too. There's a few instances where he has saved us on the clock or saved us from turnovers by watching the ball after the play. Really hope next year we use him as a pure pass catcher all the time. And now we got number 24. It is Deonte Banks, cornerback to the Giants. This guy gets a motherfucking A. He was snubbed from the Defensive Rookie of the Year finalist. This guy was an animal, 15 games started, 2 interceptions, 53 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, and 11 passes deflected. Shit, man, that sounds like he could be a cornerback 1 on nearly half the teams in the league. He was a dog. That'll bring us to number 23, Jordan Addison, wide receiver to the Vikings. His grade for me is a B+. He stepped up massively when JJ was out, and the fact that he had 900 yards and 10 touchdowns with alternating between 4 quarterbacks, that's remarkable. 22, Zay Flowers, wide receiver to the Ravens, B+ as well. 77 catches, 858 yards, 5 touchdowns. In an offense like Baltimore where it's pretty much get open or you don't get the ball, he had to have performed well. And I don't mean that like obviously you have to get open to get the ball, but I'm just saying like Lamar doesn't really have one guy outside of Andrews. He just throws to whoever. And now we got pick number 21, Quentin Johnston, wide receiver to the Chargers. F. He was fucking horrible. 38 receptions, 431 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the thing about it is Justin Herbert did everything in his power to give this man an awesome rookie season. He just dropped every chance he had. Not saying he's doomed for life, but as a rookie, what you were expected to do, you were dog shit. All right, pick 20 is a wide receiver from Seattle, Jackson Smith-Njigba. He gets a B from me. He might have had limited opportunities behind DK and Lockett, but I think he did just fine. 628 yards, 4 touchdowns as wide receiver 3. He literally just did what he could. Speaking of people who did what they could, number 19 is Kalijah Kancey, defensive tackle to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He gets a C from me. Because to me, it looks like he did his job. Started 14 games, had 4 sacks, 12 quarterback hits, 13 pressures, and only missed 1 tackle the entire year. Like, I mean, that's not the greatest stats, but it's far from the worst. Like, he did his job. That'll bring us to number 18, who is Jack Campbell, linebacker to the Lions. He gets a nice, cool C from me. He missed a lot of tackles at the start of the year. I just don't think he was that great at the start of the year. But then by the end, he was a dog, especially in the San Francisco game. I think he's gonna make a sizable impact on that roster going forward. All right, number 17, Christian Gonzalez, cornerback to the Patriots. He gets a B. It's a shame he got hurt because he was lighting it up before his injury in week 4. Only allowed a 68% completion percentage on receivers, had 1 pick, 1 sack, 14 tackles, and again, this was in the first 4 weeks. All right, now we're on to 16, Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback to the Commanders. His grade for me is a C-. He takes a lot of shit, but I really don't think he's an ass corner. Now, we did have a rough patch. He got benched a few times, once after getting absolutely murdered by A.J. Brown, which happens to anybody. But this guy had 35 tackles, 11 pass deflections, and an interception. He has talent. Give him time. And that'll bring us to 15, Will McDonald, defensive end to the Jets. Sorry guys, but he gets a D- from me. 15th overall pick, he played 184 snaps. And in those 184 snaps, he had 9 tackles, 3 sacks, and he did force a fumble and recover 1. But you gotta look at the hindsight that this is the 15th overall pick. That's nowhere near the value they were expecting to get. All right, now we are on pick 14. It is Broderick Jones, OT out of Pittsburgh. This is one I'm a little uncertain on, but after really looking at him, a B-. I feel like he did pretty good for someone who had to switch tackles during the season. He went from left to right or right to left, but he only allowed 2 or 3 penalties and 4 sacks, and I think he played in every game. Now we got number 13, Lucas Van Ness, defensive end, Green Bay. He gets a C+ from me. This guy might not have actually started a game this year, but he was a damn bully when he got to play. He's fast and he hits hard. He had 4 sacks, 12 pressures, 24 tackles, 8 for a loss, and 10 hits on the quarterback. Out of 365 snaps that he got to play, that is efficient when he is provided an opportunity. I'm excited to watch him grow. Number 12, Jahmyr Gibbs, running back out of Detroit. He gets an A. He is an animal. 945 yards, 10 touchdowns, 5.2 yards a carry. Like I said, the difference between him and David is David's the wrecking ball. Jahmyr is the shifty, ankle-breaking, young Delvin Cook. A lot of people were scratching their heads, including myself, when they drafted him, but there's no question why they did after getting to watch him play in that system. Took a little bit, but they used him and they used him well. Up next at number 11, we got Peter Skoronski, offensive tackle out of Tennessee. I gave him a B+. I mean, from what I read, he was the highest graded offensive tackle this year, out of the class, I should say, out of rookies. 14 games started, he only gave up 5 sacks and 1 penalty. Would appear to be the best O-lineman in Tennessee by a fucking wide margin, if I'm being real. And that'll bring us to number 10, Darnell Wright, offensive tackle from the Bears. He got a B as well. He played every game. Had one of the highest pass and highest block rates in the entire league. However, he did have a lot of penalties. He had 11. And now we got number 9, who is Jalen Carter, defensive tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles. He gets an A. Man played 563 defensive snaps, 6 sacks, 18 pressures, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovered for a touchdown, 33 tackles, 9 quarterback hits, 8 tackles for a loss. Beast. All right, now we're on to pick number 8, Bijan Robinson, running back to the Falcons. He gets an A from me. I don't care. He did everything he could at an excellent level with the minimal opportunity that he was given from his toad of a head coach. The fact that Bijan Robinson can have 1,400 total yards and 8 total touchdowns and feel like he let people down is cynical. All right, next up we got number 7, and that is Tyree Wilson, defensive end to the Raiders. He gets an F. Unless I'm seeing something wrong here, like he played 493 snaps, but he ended with 16 tackles and 3.5 sacks on the year? Number 7 overall pick we're talking, what were you doing? I know he came off of an injury, but like goodness gracious. Number 6, Paris Johnson Jr., offensive tackle, Arizona. I'm giving him a B, started every game, never got hurt, gave up 8 sacks and 6 penalties. Like, you know, he could have improved in that aspect, but I don't think that's bad. Number 5, Devin Witherspoon, cornerback out of Seattle. He gets an A. We just talked about him, man, in 13 games. He had a pick, a forced fumble, 16 pass deflections, 3 sacks, 56 tackles, 8 tackles for a loss, and 4 hits on the quarterback. He can't do better than that. And that'll bring us to number 4, Anthony Richardson, quarterback from the Colts. He gets a C. I think he looked electric, he looked impactful, but he got hurt. And that's as simple as it can be. Like, the guy barely got to play, but I have all the hope in the world that he is going to be the monster he was in college because it sure looked that way. That'll bring us to pick number 3, Will Anderson, DE out of Houston. He gets an A as well. This guy's a wrecking ball, dude. 32 pressures, 7 sacks, 10 tackles for a loss, 22 hits on the quarterback. Definitely a key foundation in the turnaround for the defense over there. Pick number 2, CJ Stroud, quarterback, Houston. He gets an A+. And not only did he set the single game record for the best passing game by a rookie, but this guy led the Houston Texans to a playoff victory and division title. 4,100 passing yards, 23 passing touchdowns, 5 picks, and a passer rating of 100. Those are numbers of a seasoned vet, not a rookie. And ending at pick number 1, it is Bryce Young, quarterback to the Panthers, and I don't care, I am giving him a C-. Some people want to give him an F, some people want to put him in the Ds. Okay, listen, he didn't do that great, 11 touchdowns, 10 picks, below 60% completion percentage, the entire team was terrible. You gotta ask yourself, really, how many people, especially brand new quarterbacks, are gonna succeed on the Panthers? And then you gotta ask yourself, how many would do worse on the Panthers? I genuinely believe we cannot judge this man yet. It's too early, it's too unfair. Bryce, you did everything you could, and I am gonna back you up until you give me reason not to next season. And ladies and gentlemen, that is me grading every first round draft pick from last year's NFL draft. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sure there's a lot of people who disagree, but if you did like it, you already know what to do to show support. Comment, like, subscribe, turn that bell on. I try to post on this channel every single weekday. However, with everything I said, I'm gonna get off and get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and as always, I will see you in the next video.